In an exclusive clip from the Thursday, September 25th episode of the popular Fox series, Kody Brown, star of Sister Wives, discusses his approach to advancing as far as possible in the competition. Special Forces Kody Brown worries about his sexist men versus women opinion. Kody Brown used his time on Special Forces, world's toughest test, to share some of his wisdom on how men compare to women. He admits, "I am going to say this at the risk of sounding sexist," during a confession. "I think men want to be respected and women want to be loved. I don't care if you love me, but I care if you respect me." Starting in 2023, Special Forces subjects competitors to rigorous, military-style training that is modeled after real Special Forces selection procedures. Before the premiere, Kody talked exclusively to us about some of the struggles he personally faced while competing. "There was one time when my muscles gave out," he said earlier this month, "and we were supposed to be swinging across monkey bars, and I had sand on my hands, and I couldn't cup the monkey bars." They face intense physical and mental challenges that are meant to push their limits. "I simply lacked the strength to do it." Kody remembered the instructors of the directing staff, DS, attempting to intimidate the recruits. Meet the cast of Special Forces Season 4. Teresa Giudice, Kody Brown, and others. He revealed, "I'm standing here, and I've been in this water, and I started to shiver. I don't even know what they call the punishment. That's not what I want the DS to see. They will take advantage of any indications of weakness, so I don't want them to notice any." To give the impression that he was at his limit, Kody said he leaned into a phony wheeze. "When we had been just run ragged, I was wheezing, and it was a little bit fake," he told us. "I figured if they thought I was really working hard, they wouldn't try to push me more, and I might need some energy for later. So I'm sitting there doing press-ups, and I'm like, wheezing." Kody continued, "I knew that my limits physically were never reached. I had more to give physically." The fourth season of Special Forces, World's Toughest Test, will debut on Fox on Thursday, September 25th at 9 p.m. ET. But the loss of a cherished coworker has devastated a Sister Wives star on TLC. After learning of Mark Stidham's passing, Mary Brown posted an homage to the co-founder of LuLaRoe. Brown posted a picture of herself and Stidham on her Instagram site on September 26th. "Gone too soon," she captioned the photo. "A man of compassion, kindness, and faith. A man of intellect and honesty. A man who constantly prioritized others. I am honored to have known, to have learned from, and to have called a friend," Brown added. The Sister Wives star did not elaborate on Mark's identity. Rest in peace, Mark. Fans are aware, nevertheless, that she has been associated with LuLaRoe for many years, and on September 26th, the news of the co-founder's passing surfaced. She uploaded a picture of herself with Stidham. But the Brown family had seen many highs and lows over the years, but one event, their commitment celebration, always remained a bright reminder of the reasons behind their decision to live this unusual life together. They saw it as having the same weight as vows spoken at an altar, even though it was neither a traditional ceremony nor a legally recognized wedding. A sea of family and friends had gathered to celebrate their relationship, and the day had been full with music and joy. Kody was at the center of it all, serving as his wife's common bond as well as their husband. During the celebration, Mary, Janelle, Christine, and Robin each shared words, love symbols, and personal commitments. They donned outfits that expressed their particular identities rather than bridal gowns. They created a vibrant, shining circle of solidarity. Years later, the ladies were seated in Robin's living room, enjoying tea and perusing a photo album that had been hidden away for too long. In the photos, their kids seemed happy, carefree, and oblivious to the difficulties the family would eventually encounter. Christine caressed one of the pictures and smiled softly. "Remember this section?" She pointed to a picture of all the children throwing lanterns into the air as she asked. "We wanted them to see that love would always be their anchor, despite the differences in our lives." Mary shook her head and laughed. "Remember how Kody almost burned his sleeve while attempting to light one of the lanterns? He was always a dramatic man." For a minute, the present seemed less burdensome as everyone laughed. The radiance of those cherished memories overshadowed the hardships, the separations, and the uncertainties. As she turned to a page where all the women stood with their hands linked, Robin, who frequently felt the strain of being the newest wife, started to cry. "This photo is evidence that we were once a single family," she muttered. "I'm thankful we had this day, even though I know things aren't great right now. It demonstrated to me what was feasible." Even the most realistic and grounded person, Janelle, acknowledged that celebration gave us something solid. It had nothing to do with documents or rules. "We choose this life," was what we were saying. "I still care about it since we pick each other." The ladies were still reminiscing when Kody arrived later that night. He just observed them for a bit, his heart jerked back to that night's recollection. He recalled thinking, "This is bigger than me," as he gazed out at the sea of faces, friends, family, and even complete strangers who stood with them. "This has to do with legacy." Kody cleared his throat. He whispered, "You know, that was one of the best days of my life. Since then, I am aware that I've made mistakes. I am aware that it has been difficult. However, I will always remember how dedicated we were all that evening. Even though our paths are diverging, it still has meaning." The room became silent. Though it could serve as a reminder of the foundation they once shared, the past could not erase the present. And in that instant, the recollection of their commitment celebration was more than simply a sentimental remembrance. It was a poignant reminder that they had once chosen love in the face of overwhelming odds. But Christine sat on her veranda, drinking tea and gazing over the horizon in Flagstaff's unusually pleasant desert air. Divorcing Kody had been one of the most difficult decisions she had ever taken, but it had also been the most liberating. In the last few years, her life had altered drastically. She had regained her self-confidence, regained her ability to laugh, and began to dream of a safe, unconditional, and reciprocal love. The day she met David seemed to make that fantasy come true. His presence was unusual from the start, stable, sure, and quiet. He never shied away from expressing his love for her, whether it was by doing tiny deeds of kindness or by paying close attention to what she had to say. It seemed refreshingly easy with David, in contrast to the complex past she had left behind. Now, TLC producers questioned David about his impending marriage to Christine as the cameras rolled for a new season of Sister Wives. There was no space for question in his response. David stated resolutely, "I am absolutely certain," with a tone of profound confidence in his voice. "Christine is my true love. I have examined every area of my heart, prayed, and thought. There isn't any hesitancy. She is my lifelong companion." Later, when Christine saw the clip, her eyes filled with tears. She had yearned for years for someone to truly pick her, to claim her without reservation, without any restrictions or concessions. David lived the words every day, not just uttering them. He reminded her that she deserved to be loved, supported her in front of her kids, and valued her independence. The planning of the wedding turned into a family event. As they teased her about how thrilled she appeared every time David entered the room, Christine's daughters jumped at the chance to assist her in selecting a dress. "I've never seen her this happy," said Janelle, who had always had a unique affinity with Christine and stepped in with full support. "Christine is starting a new chapter in her life with this marriage, and I appreciate that David recognizes her value." Naturally, the cameras also picked up hints of tension. While some fans pondered how Robin could feel watching Christine find love so swiftly, others wondered how Kody would respond. Christine, however, resisted allowing the past to haunt her in the present. She felt as though she could write the entire story for once. David stood at the altar with his hands clasped together and a serene expression on the day of the ceremony. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life," he muttered to the officiant as Christine, glowing in her gown, went down the aisle. David spoke from the heart when it came time to exchange vows. "Christine, I want to stand by your side through every sunrise and every storm. I don't just want to get married. You are my delight, my cause, and my haven. I'm not entirely certain. Even I am not quite certain. I firmly believe that you will always be my forever." His comments had an impact on the audience, which included his family, friends, and later admirers. After years of doubt and heartache, Christine's grin, which was brighter than ever, was evidence that she had at last found the love she had always deserved. As a result, the show ended with something far more meaningful than drama: tranquility, assurance, and the start of a love story Christine had previously only imagined. But did Kody truly love each and every one of his wives? The familiar living room, where so many of the sister wives' chats had started, was where the family gathered on a calm Flagstaff evening. This time, Kody's heart was the main topic of conversation rather than real estate, vacations, or children. Viewers had followed his marriages to Robin, Christine, Janelle, and Mary through their highs and lows for years. Every woman had a unique path, set of challenges, and relationship with Kody. But now that Christine had left and the family appeared to be broken, the question was more pressing than ever. Did Kody still love them? That evening, Mary was the first to speak. She sat with her hands clasped and continued, "I've always thought that our plural marriage was built on love, Kody. However, there were moments when I questioned whether I had it, all of it, from you." Her voice was composed but weighed down by years of unresolved emotions. Janelle nodded slowly, pragmatic as ever. "I believe that was how we all felt at times. In addition to equality, plural marriage is about sharing. Furthermore, love isn't always able to be precisely split into 4 equal pieces." Christine, who had the guts to walk away, turned to face Kody. "It wasn't that you didn't love me, in my opinion. It's because your love didn't seem to be developing alongside mine." Everyone became silent for a time as her candor pierced the room. It felt like it was staying behind while I kept moving forward. Finally, Robin, who is frequently accused of being Kody's favorite, spoke up. "I am aware that some believe I have experienced more of his love. Perhaps I have, but I never requested that. I wanted everyone to adore us equally. That was the dream that we all agreed to." Kody leaned back and absorbed the words with his palms pressed to his face. He let his hair fall over his shoulders and, for once, refrained from defending himself right away. Rather, he said quietly, "I did love you all. I still do. However, my love for you is different. Perhaps I made a mistake. Perhaps I was unsure of how to convey it equally and balance it. For me, love was about the connection I felt with each of you as an individual, not about being the same as you." Mary let out a sigh. "However, Kody, there were moments when we required more than just various forms of affection. We required constancy. We had to be certain that we were all on the same page." As they looked at one another, the spouses realized how much they had longed for approval throughout the years. Long into the night, the debate continued. There were tears, occasional bursts of laughter, and recollections of road trips, childbirth, holidays, and the little everyday rituals that had seemed indestructible. Nobody had a flawless response by the end of the evening. Did Kody really have the same love for each of his wives? Perhaps not. Perhaps he was unable to. However, they all came to the realization that love in multiple marriages required work, sacrifice, and the determination to struggle for connection rather than perfection. It was too late for some of them, like Christine. For others, such as Mary and Janelle, the response was more nuanced. Additionally, Robin would constantly feel the burden of being the favorite. Kody sat by himself for a little while longer that evening as the family members parted ways. He mumbled to himself, "I did love them," as he surveyed the empty living room. "In my own manner." However, perhaps my approach wasn't sufficient. The question that would haunt the Brown family for the rest of their lives was raised by this. Is it possible for one guy to have the same level of love for 4 wives? But with the late afternoon sun peeking through the blinds, Mary sat peacefully in the corner of her living room. Her heart was pounding, yet the house was quiet. She had endured years of living with doubts, inquiries, and hidden statements. She felt prepared to confront them for the first time in a long time. Kody stepped into the room, his face reserved but not nasty. They had discussed the rifts in their relationship many times previously. However, it felt different this time. Recognizing what could no longer be fixed was more important than merely attempting to fix what was broken. Kody said, "Mary," in a softer tone than usual, "we've been talking about this for years. We should finally come to terms with what we both know, in my opinion." Mary nodded, her eyes steady but glimmering. "Kody, I understand. I've waited because I believed that things might change. In actuality, though, we have been leading different lifestyles for a while. I want our relationship to be free of animosity. All I desire is freedom. And perhaps you do, too." A silence fell, heavy but oddly quiet. Kody gazed at her, not with rage or even guilt, but with an understanding that they both needed this release. Finally, he responded, "Then I grant you that release, Mary. I can no longer provide you with the happiness you deserve. You deserve to live life to the fullest." They were silent for a moment. The silence had become exhilarating rather than oppressive. As if an unseen link had been loosened, Mary felt her chest lighten. "Thank you," she muttered, almost to herself. Although there were many tears in the days that followed, there were also many fresh starts. When Mary told her sister wives, each of them reacted differently. Robin shed tears but also offered words of encouragement. Janelle showed silent compassion, and Christine gave encouraging hugs. As part of her journey, Mary stored aside old memories to cherish them rather than to obliterate them. She began taking trips, getting back in touch with old acquaintances, and even pursuing long-held dreams of hers. Every day felt like a step toward a world that had been waiting for her, a world in which her decisions, rather than those of others, defined her. Mary said into the wind, "I am free," one evening while standing on a peaceful hilltop overlooking the desert. The desert responded with silence, yet there was peace in that calm. Not only did her separation from Kody mark the end of their marriage, but it also marked the start of her journey of self-discovery and the opportunity to create a new chapter in her life. Welcome to my channel, dear viewers. My name is Sabrina, and I hope you're having a great day. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the video.